So I'm trying something a little different this time. In all honesty, I kind of just wanted to play a couple of chapters without any of this. So I did. So I thought we'd come back around and sort of talk about them after. So I've done chapters 4 and 5, as well as, I assume, the first Paralogue. I don't know if there's a way to unlock another one before the one with Jean. And I'll have some gameplay in the background of the Jean Paralogue, because that's the only one I recorded gameplay of. But yeah, let's see. And anything of note. In chapter 4 and 5, I noticed that Eddie, not Eddie as I was previously pronouncing, I believe, is a very useful unit. I mean, chapter 4 was kind of obvious because there was a lot of flying units to take care of. But heading into chapter 5, now granted I did have a steel bow because I have the expansion pass and I was able to redeem some of that stuff in between chapter 4 and 5. But she has been one of the units, besides my tome mages, who could one-shot enemies, which is kind of surprising because normally the archer isn't one of the first or one of the only units that can really do that, aside from flying units. But no, Eddie was able to take out some decent non-archer enemies as well. Continuing on with the story too, I think I am starting to like Eddie and Boucheron a little more than I thought I would. So I guess once again we'll see when we're introduced to other characters who could replace them. I remember the one with Eddie was I don't remember his name. I don't really know any of the names outside who we already have, but he was the brother of the main guy from Brodia, and he is also an archer. And like I said, at first glance, I thought he seemed like he might be a little more interesting of a character to follow. But we'll have to see how powerful he is and if that actually adds up. Although, talking about Eddie, in the Paralogue with Jean, I almost did something stupid and got her killed. Obviously, I'm the person that restarts, but since we have rewind, I would just have to rewind now. But I was sort of taking advantage of that map. The thing with Jean's Paralogue, and I don't really know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I feel like it was a little exploitable, at least on the difficulty I was in. Mainly because Jean and his father, Sean, are both, I don't remember the name of the class exactly, but they're essentially the cleric class who can heal. So it's like even when the enemies reach these villagers who you want to protect for, higher rewards and that, and I guess for morality of the fictional world. But yeah, I never really felt like they were in any danger because Sean would just be able to heal. And then even with Jean, it's like, I was actually really happy to see Jean, because I was even just thinking a couple weeks ago, now granted I did spoil myself, I knew this type of unit existed, but I was thinking, it's been a while since I've built someone like a Donald or a Mozu from previous games, and I really enjoy that process of just, taking that weak character, figuring a way to get your enemies down enough so they can finish them off, and you can get a bunch of XP, and then they become decently good at the end. Definitely Donald more than Mozu. But yeah, this time around, your villager-esque character is also a cleric, so they can also heal to gain experience. So that could take away from that a bit. I will admit, though, overall, I don't know. I might be the minority. A lot of people may not like to try to build a Donald or a Mozu. So maybe this is a good decision overall. And I would be lying if I was going to say that I wasn't going to take advantage of some of these other opportunities to maybe build them up a little quicker. So yeah, I guess it will be a little interesting and unique compared to the past villager characters. But yeah, I was even thinking, like I said recently, it's been a while since Fates. I've played through Echoes, a bunch of Three Houses, all the different stories there without this type of character. So it's nice to see again. Also, remembering, I checked for sure, and Clan cannot heal. Fram can. And that was something very useful to remember, because she was falling a little behind, and then all of a sudden I remembered that, and now I got her all caught up. Only in time for Jean to come along and sort of be probably the better of the two units, so she's probably going to get pushed to the side for now. Right when I learned how to distinguish the twins. Obviously, I was kind of going back and forth between messing up their names and calling them male twin, female twin. Well, female twin, Fram, both start with F, so I finally have that in my head to differentiate them, but I guess it matters a little less now. But yeah, I'll admit, getting started with chapters 4 and 5 in particular, I don't know. I don't know if it's the layout of the map or just the way I'm thinking about it, but I just feel like I've got to be a little more careful than usual. I don't really know why, but it's taken me a little bit to even just get going and sort of plan out, well, at least a little more than usual. I don't know. But yeah, in chapter 4, we were introduced to Louis, Chloe, and Saline. I was pronouncing her name wrong too. Saline, in particular, Silica's Warp Ragnarok skill are really insane. Very good. So Saline in particular has become a very powerful character, and like I said, I am sort of curious on how other characters would utilize that skill, whether they be a mage or not. Because that was something I discovered too. I don't think I did this in the last chapter we did. I think it was 3. But when I had Sigurd with Fram at the time, I can actually use a lance with Fram when they're engaged, which was something I wasn't expecting. It's pretty interesting, so it once again has me really curious about Silica's skill. But yeah, once I got going, I feel like both missions went pretty smoothly. I feel like the 5th may have gone a little smoother, albeit it was probably a little longer just because there were some treasure chests on the side, and then I didn't realize you can break the wall, so I only sent a couple units over there. And I just wasted a bunch of turns and time just sort of figuring that out when it probably could have been a little easier. The Paralogue went fine other than that moment with Eddie A. And like I said, I was able to sort of take advantage of the healer thing, and even towards the end, I was able to sort of take advantage of what the enemy AI were doing and sort of use that to level Jean up a couple times. I will admit, I didn't get to him as quick as I wanted, but at least towards the end, things probably worked out better than they should have, so it evens out. The next chapter, chapter 6, looks like it's going to be interesting. We've been introduced to Yunaka, and the map looks interesting. It's one of those maps where you have limited visibility, and I'm actually used to more of those maps being, fog-based, but this one is darkness-based. Still probably kind of the same thing, but it is a little interesting and refreshing to see something a little bit new. So yeah, we'll see how the limited visibility map goes. As for the Somniel, that's opened wide open now. Let's see, we have access to Somni, who I of course named Coca-Cola to match Pepsi Man. And that whole seems to be a lot like Lilith from Fates, which is interesting. There's a section where you can do workouts, which are just like little mini games, and you get a stat boost for one battle. I don't think they're that great. I might just try them all once and just sort of leave that behind. We have a bunch of shops open. I customized the characters a little bit with some of the clothes and accessories I unlocked. The arena is open. That wasn't what I expected, the way it sort of works, but you could I've only done the free battles, but you can you'll face a random opponent and you'll gain some experience, which seems like it's pretty useful. I learned what wake-up events are, which are kind of weird. You just fall asleep and you get like a little cutscene with someone from your party. That's whatever. I don't know if you gain anything from it. Or can at least get achievements. I finally went in and redeemed all the bond points or whatever I got through all the achievements I had. You have the animal section where you can collect animals after battles. I did donate to Alfred's country, so I know they restrict some things like such as the animal stuff we were talking about now, but I guess they'll dig up different materials. And then the ring vault, I've done a set of 10 for Marth, Silica, and Sigurd for the bond rings. I've merged all of them that were available to be merged. And I gave Celine one of Silica's skills because their bond is leveled up quite a bit, and I had enough of the character points or whatever. And yeah, I feel like I might be missing a thing or two, particularly with the Somniel, but it's not coming to my head right away. We can always come back to it. Obviously, I'm going to be going back and forth between the Somniel throughout a lot of this game. Also, there's a world map again, which was something I kind of forgot about that was also refreshing and nice to see. Like, since Awakening and Echoes, since Three Houses and Fates didn't have it. I do wish you're able to go back to your other maps and just sort of explore. Maybe you are, and I just haven't figured it out. Also, something with the world map that I thought was kind of cool, I think Three Houses did it as well, though, was you could sort of see the rankings for who got the MVP most out of, just the general leaderboard, basically. And yeah, so far I'm enjoying the game. It's been a refreshing experience, and I'm looking forward to more.